Wait, my
All
brother.
right. Welcome everyone to episode 5
Wait,
from the
wait.
Lunch Crew. Today we will be reflecting on our year. So we're going to be talking about some of the highlights and some of the challenges that we had this year. You know, every school year is different. So we just want to share what were some of the things that happened this year. So the first question we're going to talk about is what were some of the highlights that we had this year?
Well, for me, I feel like this year, although it was very challenging, I grew closer with my parents, not my actual parents, but the parents in my classroom. I feel like we have a bond with some parents. I have a bond with them that's beyond what I had before with any parents. So I'm really grateful for that.
For me, I think one of my highlights was I felt like I grew as a teacher, and I was having before I used to doubt myself a lot more, and I feel like I grew a little bit more confident this year, and I was surprised at myself when trying new things. I was petrified. I'm like, is it going to work? Is it going to definitely go out the window? But I was in a way, the class that I had and the parents that I had, they allowed me to explore and, just grow as an educator.
Yeah, I agree with both of you in those sense, but definitely my highlight is that I feel as if I grew as a teacher, especially when it comes to teaching reading. That's like my biggest fear. Like I'll teach anything else except reading, and being a co-teacher with Charlie, like she really pushed me to take on more responsibility and kind of take that on my own, and just through her support and through support of my team, I feel as if like teaching a reading lesson that's engaging, where I feel confident and I feel as if the students are learning, was definitely the highlight for this school year.
For me, I feel like I got better with differentiation. Like that was one of my goals, and just in school, just creating different things. Like for each group and giving them what they need as far as different questions and just the way they approach each lesson. But also now I feel a little bit better with differentiation because of all the technology. I did use a lot of technology before, but not in a way that I'll probably start using it next year. And I'm like, this is good, this is cool. And it will save me a lot of grading. So that's good too.
Oh, and we didn't even talk. And my highlight was I had wrote down teacher growth, and I was specifically talking about you ladies and how you grew, this year. And as Tabby said, I worked with her. This is our third year, and I have seen her grow from a shy teacher to this confident. Yes, she was. Listen, first year.
I used to hide a lot.
Yes. I've seen her grown. I've seen her, willing to take chances to, like, I have been able to step away on so many occasions. And when I came back, it was like I didn't leave. It was seamless. Not to say, but before I knew she could do it, but she would always be like, "Oh no, don't leave." But now I see that. Gladys, same thing. Gladys is taking on challenges. She's going places. She's much more confident. She's just trying new things. She'll come to us with ideas that she wants to, put in her classroom. Joe's is so much more mature. Like this is her second year. Sometimes I forget. But she just her energy and her vibe and she's not actually afraid to take on these challenges, which is something that works a lot in her favor. But Shireen is very, very composed at all times. So Shireen is just like, okay, she always she has it together, you know. But now hearing her say that she was working on differentiation and improved technology in the classroom, I can see that, because she's always sharing with us, oh, this is what I do, or we'll look at her board and be like, okay, we're gonna do that too.
No.
So, you know, so we have, you know, I've seen you guys grown so much, and the biggest thing of all that came out of this year is the lunch crew. So proud of you.
Yeah.
Hey.
Actually, you have grown a lot. Like, you are a model teacher.
Yeah.
I mean, before you even got that award, you were a model teacher. Like, you're a great
That's an award?
mentor, and all of your feedback is always timely. It's always specific. It's always us. Like, it's never, you need to fix this. It's always, this is what we need to work on together. And I always appreciate that about you.
I was mad at Tabby for taking my spot. I was like, if I was in a class with her, I would learn so much. And then Tabby came along. But it's good. It's a good blessing.
I have a question.
I will never forget. Charlia has been, I'm sorry, Dose, to cut you off. But I will never forget, Charlia has always been kind of like my fairy godmother. She always comes, like, she is always there when I need some guidance, when I need a push, when I need to be pushed. Sometimes I would just be like, I'm not gonna do it. But I remember my first observation at 133. I was so nervous. I was shaking the whole time. I couldn't even put two sentences together. I was just really nervous. And I remember that I told Charlie, I was like, please. I was like, come watch me, like, before this lesson, because I am, like, freaking out. And she came in during, like, the day of my observation. She sat there, and I was being observed by my principal at that time. But just Charlia being there made me feel so comfortable, because, you know, we had spoke. I think I drove her crazy that week talking to her about the lesson. I was like, Charlia, you think I should do this? And I don't know about this. And I drove her and Tabby crazy that week, because every 5 minutes I would go into the room. But, you know, Charlie and Tabby, they make me feel so comfortable, and they make me feel so, they always acknowledge everything that I have to say, and they're always so thoughtful in the way that they give me feedback. And, you know, I never mind the feedback. I'm like, okay, the harsher it is, the better. But they're always very good about giving feedback, and giving me feedback that I could use it. You know, it's like right away I put it in, I apply it. So thank you.
I actually like how you guys, none of you actually hide resources, and I feel like that actually helped me grow. I would come to your classroom and you would let me take pictures. You would even print stuff out and give out to me. So whenever I needed help, I was always welcome into your classroom, and don't feel like, well, you're cheating if you take this, you know? Yeah, thank you for letting me steal stuff.
It's already stolen, so
yeah. Yeah, I think that's the beauty of it, just the willingness and openness of us to just share, even though we're not all on the same grade, or, you know, we don't think too much of it, to say, okay, let me share this is what's happening in my classroom, you could try it too. Or, you know, that's the beauty of teamwork or sisterhood, or, you know, just mere working together. I mean, what can happen? Just supporting each other. Yeah. So what are some challenges? Like, what are some challenges that we face this year?
Outside of COVID?
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about COVID too, because I feel like it kind of, you know, puts a damper into everything that was happening.
Yeah. For me, the year I started, it felt really tough in the beginning, because I didn't feel as successful as I usually feel. Like, right on, I would be like, okay, the kids are getting this, or, you know, something. And I didn't feel that in the beginning. So that it felt challenging. And that, I think that's why my differentiation got a little bit better, because then I had to find more ways to meet them and make sure everyone is getting what they needed. And then, of course, coming into this, I feel like the most challenging part, and I was telling my team today, is those kids where I was getting those growths, you know, the growths with, and the kids that I was like, okay, yes, they're starting to love math, they're starting to get it. Those are the ones that I see the less, the least with remote
Mhm.
learning. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, like it's so hard because they were just starting to do so well. They were just starting to understand so much better, and they're not putting in as much work as we wish they could. And they all have their own reasons, but yeah, that's a challenge for me.
Yeah. Similarly to us, because we are Tabby and I are ICT, so we teach a wide academic range of students, and every year that's one of the biggest challenges for us is to see how we're going to reach each student. And we do a lot of small group work and a lot of one-to-one, but it's always a challenge for Tabby and I constantly to be thinking about how are we modifying our groups, how are we changing our groups to make sure that everyone is reached. And sometimes even within that small group there are pockets of students who need special attention that we need to attend to or pay attention to. So that's a constant challenge. And I mean, although it's something that's difficult for us, we pride ourselves upon making sure that we get it right, we get our students where they need to be. And that's just a part of what keeps me going, because I love that. Although it's a challenge, I love that it pushes me to become a better teacher.
Well, my challenge is similar to you guys a bit, but I feel like regardless of how hard I try to give different articles to differentiate different tools and so forth, there's always that small group of students that you feel like it would have been better if you were next to them and actually helping them with the thing. Like doing it through the computer did not work for them. And I definitely wish I was able to see them and sit down on the floor with them, have a pencil, draw it out in front of them. And that's the downside of remote learning, really.
For me, I think one of my challenges, and I believe that's one of my challenges every year, that's how am I going to teach the kids? Am I going to push them enough? Is my instruction going to be rigorous enough, but clear enough for everybody to understand? So for me, that's one of the things that I'm always struggling with. When I'm lesson planning, I'm always thinking, differentiation. How am I going to make sure that everybody gets to the lesson and the objective? Well, maybe not at the same time and not the same way, but how am I going to make it accessible for everybody? So that's one of the things that was a challenge. And I feel like I had I was already like I had a pace to it, the remote teaching strike, and it becomes more difficult because I always believe that teaching is very practical, and if you don't have the students in front of you, then it's very hard to reach them in the way that you want to, and it's very hard to teach them the objective the way you want to, because it's virtually and they're not as focused. So
yeah, my challenges are very similar to all of you through the differentiation, being able to reach those students. And as Charlie was saying, like our class is like small groups within small groups. So making sure that we're tending to every single child's need. But another challenge that I had this year was like I just came back from giving birth, and it was hard, like leaving my child. Like I trust the person that she was with, but Charlie would tell you I was on my phone checking the cameras to make sure she's okay. So it was emotionally, and physically, it was very, very difficult. And it's probably still going to be difficult in September, but I'm starting to get a hang of it or a hold of it. So that was my personal challenge, I guess. Now that we've shared our challenges and our highlights from our school year, you can share yours below in the comments. What were your thorns and what were your roses?
Share. Comment.
Yeah, comment.
Yes.
Like, follow, subscribe, share, all those good things.